Hello and welcome to Up and About. I'm your host, Eniola Lunge. On Up and About, we actively pursue the development and the prosperity of the African continent. The show is transgenerational. This means that we will be sitting with business leaders across various industries with varying levels of experience in order for us to leverage on the wealth of knowledge and experience that they have gathered over the years. This is the episode on architecture. So if you are an architect and you're just wondering, like, how do people even start an architectural firm in Lagos, in Nigeria, in Africa, then you should definitely be, watching this episode. So our first guest to help us, do justice to the conversation today is Dolapo Falola.
Dolapo Falola is the founder of Urban and Contemporary Architects Limited, founded in 2013 on the principles of people, interactions, and flexibility. He has been in mainstream architectural consultancy practice since his graduation from the School of Architecture and Design, University of Lagos in 2006, and has participated in the design and execution of a broad variety of projects and building types, ranging from large commercial buildings to smaller but no less interesting fit-outs with a team of young, vibrant-minded architects, designers, artists, and innovators of combined experience of over 45 years.
Welcome to Dolapo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for, honoring our invitation.
It's a pleasure.
Wonderful. And then our second guest to help us, on the journey in the discussion on the architecture industry, we have Michael Awonowo.
Michael Awonowo is currently the CEO of McD Designs, an architecture and design company where he leads strategy and business development. He has a strong passion for using design as a tool to innovate the future of work in Africa and has overseen construction projects for various high-profile clients. Michael is an alumnus of Covenant University, where he studied architecture at the undergraduate and postgraduate level. He is an avid educator with a keen interest in helping people and organizations find pain points and preferring solutions to them.
Welcome, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so today we are going to be focusing on, architecture, clients, getting into the industry, retaining clients. We're going to be talking on innovation and sustainability, and then we're going to be talking on when is the best time to, branch out on your own from employment to self-employment as an architect. But before we go into the conversation, we are going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Still Up and About. My name is Eniola, and we still have Michael as well as Dolapo in the studio with us today. So we're just going to jump straight into the conversation. So let's start with Dolapo. So what was the first job? Do you remember the first job you ever executed, and what were the challenges faced, and how were you able to overcome them? So you can start with what was the first job you executed?
Okay, my first job was for a senior colleague who is a structural engineer, and I kind of find that very flattering for a much more senior colleague to come to me who has worked with several other architects to come to me to design his house. And it also gave me some sort of validation that there's something I'm doing right. You have all these big architects and you came to a rookie. So I found that really flattering.
That's amazing. So did you face any challenges?
Sure. So one of the main challenges obviously was because I was still very young, and like I said, is a much older senior colleague. Obviously has so many other architect friends. So after I did the design, we'll take my design to them and say, please help me check what this guy has done. And because of their experience, they come back and make one other changes, another change. So it got to a stage that I just told him that, sir, if you want us to go ahead with this project, I like all these comments that I've had, but let me do it my own way. And I think after standing that ground, it just kind of let me do the thing. So
wonderful.
that was a serious challenge.
And I think you already answered how you were able to overcome it.
Yes.
Okay, what about you, Michael?
Well, I would say the first project is a commercial project for a tech company, Softcom.
Okay.
It was, I think they're very important. It was big because in the industry, nobody gives you anything to build until you build. You need to look for a family member to do something for you, or like you said, a senior colleague. For us, we got a company to trust us.
Off the bat.
At the onset, they did not trust us, and I understand that. But I think they were new to working with an architect, so it was a learning experience for everybody. So that was a challenge in itself, because we were basically winging it. It took like learning every day, learning things, getting up to speed every day. I think a major challenge is that I call that project school in the office, because we wasted some money, and we had to use our money to compensate and fix some things so at least the client is satisfied. So that's our first project. I think it's also the project that put us out there.
That's wonderful. So how do you decide which projects to work on and which to, reject?
Well, we do predominantly commercial, as it is right now.
Okay.
Yes,
so obviously residential is
we plan to venture into residential. There's a lot of stress that comes with residential, because, like for example, Dolapo mentioned that you give the senior, his client was taking it to his friends. In residential, they take it to their wives, they take it to their sons, their daughters,
husbands, and
they come back with ridiculous comments, and you're like, are you serious? So you say the kitchen should be like, why can't the kitchen be orange? And like, yeah. So those are the problems that come with residential. With commercial, it's more there are business questions, like how can we? So the question is, how do we make more money? So it's more easy to have a let's say reasonable conversation around that. That's why.
Okay, because residential is more of an emotional standpoint.
Exactly.
Like, this is just what I want.
Exactly.
Wonderful. What about you,
so obviously, when we started out, I started from my bedroom after I left paid employment to start UCA. So as a young architect, I kind of took almost any job that came my way. But over time, that we've started developing our own identity, the first and the most important thing for us to take any project is the client. We have to feel at ease with the client. And then secondly, the brief. It has to also sit with us. Is this something we like to do? Is it, or do I know someone that can do it better? And also very critically, because this is a business program, the fees also has to be right. So that's how we kind of know the kind of projects to take on. But obviously, the fees is also a serious benchmark for us to know who is serious or who is not serious. Anybody that is not willing, any client that is not willing to discuss your fees or to know how much you charge is a no-no for us. So the first thing, the client, we have to feel at ease with the client. The brief has to be right, and the fees too has to be right.
Wonderful. You mentioned that if it's not a good fit for your company, you'll be willing to just search and say who is going to be a good fit for this project.
Yes.
Is that something that's rampant in the industry, or is that just you? Do other architects usually refer?
Okay, so I would say, someone like Michael, someone like myself, and a few other young architects. I think the profession is changing in the sense that the competition, the way I say, the competition is not really with top guys like this. The competition is with possibly those guys. You go around like you go around Banana Island, you see terrible buildings, terrible architecture everywhere. How do we get those jobs? So the competition really is with those less qualified guys. So I'm always very happy to call my friend, the guys we went to school together. Guy, I have this brief. I know you've done something like this before. Can you come in and help us sort it out? So we do it all the time. And there's a project I'm working on currently also that another architect actually brought it to me. So his collaboration is always something we look forward to.
That's very true. And now that you say, well, before I say my comments, Michael, do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, I do agree with you. Well, for us, like I said, because it's mostly commercial, we hardly respond to the residential requests. And doesn't mean we haven't done some residential projects, but usually they're from execs that work in the companies that we've done projects for. So it's much, we already have a business relationship with them, and we just carry it. About referring projects, we hardly do that because we work with commercial clients, and that would hardly fly. Like we'll have someone else that can do it. So it's either you can do it or we go do another bidding process.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if the fees don't work,
yeah,
maybe we can mention someone else so there are some cases where they don't need our expertise or they shouldn't be paying us that much. And then we can recommend someone to do. So for example, you want to do a mural on the wall. You don't need to pay us. We can recommend an artist to do that for you. So I think that's the extent to which we can refer projects.
Okay. So would you say that lifelong? Oh, before I go into my next question, I wanted to mention the thing on collaboration. That I think that should be the watchword for the decade going forward. Because if you want to say that you're an island, then you're probably just going to be swimming against the tide all by yourself. When you could have had people, helping you or pulling you up, and you could have also been helping others. But I also want to ask in regards to learning and continuous learning as an architect, whether that's something that's necessary, and what would be your advice to a young architect who is finding it hard to retain clients? And then we're also going to be talking about innovation and sustainability. But before we go on to those, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Don't be the word best kept secret. Just put yourself out there, but make sure whatever you're putting out there is good.
Did you know? 1. Architecture was once an Olympic sport. 2. The Sims was originally designed as an architecture simulator. 3. The Great Wall of China was constructed for over 2,600 years. 4. There are 10 million bricks in the Empire State Building. 5. In 1963, LEGO created special bricks for architects called Modulex. They were discontinued in the 1970s. Now you know.
Welcome back. This is still Up and About. My name is Eniola, and of course we still have Dolapo as well as Michael in the studio with us discussing the architecture industry in Nigeria. So I want to ask now, would you say that continuous learning or lifelong learning is something that's important as an architect, or all that you learned in school is all that you've been working with so far? Since your degree.
Well, I don't know about Dolapo. I don't know what school you went to, but in Nigerian universities, I know what you learned in school was obsolete before you entered school.
Oh, tell me about that.
So you're literally especially if you're going to set up a business. Nowadays I do more of client management. I do more of negotiation. You don't learn that in school. I think it applies to other creative professions as well. You don't learn that in school. The work itself is a small part, is a more small fraction of the entire project process. So lifelong learning, that's important. If you don't do that, you'll be obsolete. I think it shows in the architecture you see in Lagos. And I know I've seen a lot of people complain lately, why do they always look like this? Why are the windows so tiny? It's because people are not learning and they just keep getting projects. It's sad, but that's the reality.
I think is a non-negotiable in the sense that architecture itself is a slow profession. It takes time. Proper architecture takes time. And if, on the average, a project from planning to completion should take between 2 to 5 years, some bigger projects can take as long as 10 years. So in that period, in this fast-paced world, it's a long period. So if you don't learn, the things you put in your design, even at the time of implementation, they're already old and obsolete. So you are delivering a project dead on arrival. So you have to keep learning and unlearn, relearn. It's a continuous cycle. And not only in architecture, in life generally. you have to always learn and learn and learn.
So thank you very much. I absolutely agree that lifelong learning, continuous learning is something that's not even just architects have to do, but every professional, if you're going to stay relevant and if you're going to stay fresh, if you don't, even bread, like, imagine just eating like old bread. So I think that it's very important to keep in pace with the trends globally and everywhere else.
Absolutely.
So as a business, what are the factors that determine? So I think this is going to be a retrospective question. So as a business, what are the factors that determine how long you have to look for briefs as opposed to clients seeking you out? Let's start with Dolapo.
Okay, so like I said initially, when we just started, and we chase everything that we could possibly chase because we are just starting out new. We don't have too much experience. Then the passion, like you mentioned earlier, architecture is a very, very emotional profession. So, at times you are led by your emotions rather than your head. But now that, we've started building a bit of name for ourselves and people are getting to know us more, we still chase after some certain briefs. We still do some design bid, but gradually, we've been getting emails and calls for projects. And I think that can only come with time and the quality of work you are putting out. So over time, people say, well, I like this, and can you give me the guy's contact? Or they go to your website or your Instagram page or wherever. So gradually, we are beginning to command the right attention and the kind of clients we want.
Okay.
Well, I'll say we've been very lucky because we're a young firm and we do good work. So people vouch for us. Especially, I don't think we did any form of marketing up until like early this year. So throughout last year was people have done stuff for like, oh, we know these young guys and they're really good. And then, and because our projects are commercial, you close them on the executive level. So business developers are useless if you're trying to get into a company that has various levels of managerial positions. So it has to be this CEO or this manager reaching out to this manager. And that's how we get projects. So, but we're becoming more intentional about it. We just recruited a chief marketing officer to help us manage the process. Because I would say we've been very lucky now. Projects come to us. I don't know where to go to go and get commercial projects. I don't know which door I'm going to knock down. But now we're trying to refine the process, like have a proper method of getting them. And I think I have to admit, to be very lucky.
And I think this also alludes to having structure.
Yeah.
And, keeping in tune and staying true to the structure that you have put in place for your business.
Yeah.
And so now I want to ask you, what would be your advice to a young architect or a young firm who is finding it hard to retain clients?
Okay, on serious answer first, quit.
Don't quit, guys.
Change your profession.
Keep at it.
But on a serious note, I think you just have to put your work out there. Put your work out there. Like, there are many channels, Instagram, Twitter, Behance. Put your work out there. Let people know you. So if, as architects, we have a very beautiful product. Like we literally sell beauty. So if you don't have, even if you don't have a built project, you can put out 3D renders. Let people know, oh, I'm thinking in this direction. That's what helped me before I started the company. I put out stuff. So Softcom, the first time I met them, they wanted to build an office. I had renders of a bank. Yeah. So they were like, oh, this looks good. There was even a foreign blog, like one of the biggest architectural blog, Agdeli. They reached out to us to feature us on their website because they saw a render and thought it was real. So that was like one way of getting to the door. Starting, like, just put yourself out there. Let people know you for something. Because if you're waiting to build before you might never get that opportunity.
That's great advice.
I agree completely. And I've heard this from even a much, much bigger architect, mad architect, is a Chinese guy, and that's exactly what he said. Don't be the word best kept secret. Just put yourself out there, but make sure whatever you're putting out there is good. Because my former boss used to say something, once you send that click button or you dispatch that letter, you don't know where it could get to. It could get in front of Buhari, it could get in front of Donald Trump. You don't know where. So anything, don't just put things out for sake of putting things out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put out good quality jobs, project, product, anything you're putting out, or make sure it's good.
I like it. So I like that you mentioned that even though you don't have an actual project yet, let people see that you're actually thinking
Yeah.
and you're actually practicing what you say you can do, even though nobody has trusted you enough to do it. And you're showing the world that, hey, this is what I can do. And I think we live in spectacular times, really, because with social media, you really have no excuse not to
Yeah.
have a job or to say that you're unemployed. There's so many opportunities out there in the world, so you had better be taking one of them.
Yeah.
And I also like that you are talking to other people, other architects around the world. So
yes.
I think architecture is such a global profession because you have to look at what every other person is doing in other parts of the world,
Yeah.
and they try to incorporate that in the work that you're putting out, and definitely also put out the work. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer, but I don't know why people will still put out that work at the end of the day. But those are not our audience. Our audience are going to put out good work.
Yeah.
So you better do that. So we're also going to be talking about funding, and then we're also going to be talking about when you think it's best to branch out on your own and all of that. But before we go into that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Then I had colleagues that were not earning so well. I had someone that was offered, I think, 40,000 as a master's degree holder.
How to succeed in the industry. 1. Make yourself indispensable. 2. Leverage your unique strengths. 3. Don't be afraid to charge your money's worth. 4. Be open to new ideas. 5. Work on your presentation skills.
We're back. Welcome. This is still up and about, and this episode is still on the architecture industry. We have Dolapo Falola along with Michael Awonowo in the studio with us. Just walking us through the importance of continuous learning as an architect, and I would say as a person. We've discussed how they got into architecture, the importance of doing good work, and if you're unable to get an actual project currently, you can always put out renders of projects that you're thinking of, so people can just get a feel of the way your mind works and see whether you and them and you and their projects are a good fit. But now we're going to be talking funding. So did it take you any amount of money to open your firm, or you just said, okay, just I don't know, just walk me through the funding process?
Okay, so I had the plan to, set up an architectural firm. And what I did was, obviously, I've been saving towards that. So much so that, I think I had savings for like about 6 to 1 year of the current salary I was earning when I was in paid employment. Just so if, in case, I don't get any project within that, I can still, maintain that. Exactly. So I didn't really, there was really no need for funding. And like I said earlier, I started from my bedroom. Then from my bedroom, I moved to my study. Then from my study, we now got a studio. So there was really no need for me to raise any funding to start. But it was a bit challenging in the sense that, you are working from home then, and all the things associated with working from home. People want to come and meet you, light. People want to come and meet you for meetings. You have to be the one to go and meet them. And so that was how I started. And so far so good. I think starting without serious funding also just kind of taught me how to be prudent, how to be resourceful. And it's those same principle that I was using when I was in my bedroom. Some of those principles are the things I'm still using to run the firm up to now.
Zero. Zero. I think I'll say I started on it there.
Who did?
I did myself, yeah, I did myself. Because, okay, so basically I was very good on that in pen implement. No, in pen implement. I am very good, but I was very good in pen implement, and I think I was doing well in my job in the sense that I was working with I was working in front of the former VP of RIBA, that's UK's Association of Architecture, when she came to Nigeria. And then I was earning more than everybody in the firm in like 4 months of just joining the firm. And that was because I knew the value I was bringing, and I could tell her, oh, I think I should earn more than everybody, because I believe I'm doing more than everybody. But then I had colleagues that were not earning so well. I had someone that was offered, I think, 40,000 as a master's degree holder. As paid employee, no, like as monthly salary. Okay. And I thought I was
5 days a week.
Yes, 5 days a week. Okay. I thought that was ridiculous.
Once a year.
I thought that was ridiculous. So I told them there was work outside, and they were like, no, there isn't. So I started employing two companies for the fun of it. I'll get the interview, I'll go for it, get offered the job, and reject it. And I tell them, oh, there's vacancy here. And then they apply and like, no, they said there's no vacancy. I was like, okay, so I think I'll just start something and just see how that goes. If it doesn't work out, I'll go to Canada. Literally, that was what it was. And then I started, and because I think that's the one lock our professionals. It means you can build a portfolio of work without actual work. So I had a good portfolio, and it got us a soft project and got us other projects. So like I started with literally nothing and vibes and inshallah.
Do you know what I hear you say? I think the difference and the reason why they would go for the same interview and not get the job is because they really weren't, bringing the same value that you were bringing, and they really were not, engaging in active and continuous learning.
Yeah.
Because if they were, they would probably be getting the jobs that you got and rejected.
I think communicating the value is one thing too. I don't think I can fill your tank, and you go to the airport, you're late for an interview. You're late for an interview that will get you £1 million. And I know that, and I charge you 200K for the 4. And then someone else does it and charges you 5K. So we've done the same thing. We've given the same value, but I know what it's worth to you. So like you might be bringing the same value to the table, but if you have no idea what you're doing, that's where there's a problem. I knew what I was bringing to the table, and so I could state it and charge for it.
Once again, I hear you say, know your worth.
Exactly.
Know your worth.
Exactly.
Only you know what you've been through. People will try to tell you that, oh no, just take this one, and don't take it, my brother, my sister. There's more for you. So we are running out of time, but yeah, how many years would you recommend that architects be employed before branching out on their own? How many years?
Okay, so architecture is heavily regulated. If you want to be a registered architect, it's mandatory that you have to work in a registered firm or under a registered architect for at least 2 years. That's if, but you can start on your own anytime you want to. But it's always good to learn, because most of the things I learned, like you said, just coming out of school, you practically don't know anything. So most of the things I learned were from my other paid employment under good structured architectural firm. And I would recommend you work at least 2 years.
Wonderful. Michael?
If I speak, I'll be in trouble. I want to give a particular number of years, but I honestly would not have any experience with that. I would say I'm an outlier in the sense that I worked in an architecture firm for 7 months, and I started something. Everybody told me some people told me I was playing with my life, but I think it has gone well so far. So I don't think I'm the best person to say this number of years. It's when you're ready, you know you're ready. And if you're willing to take the risk and like I knew if it doesn't work out, there's a plan B. I'm still exactly. So if you know you can, because it's a very, especially in the climate we're in, it's a very risky profession. The odds of you not getting any projects is really high. So I think it's up to you. But learning is, I had to pay for school on projects. Like I said, we had to pay to learn on projects, and you can learn that from working with someone. It's up to you.
Wonderful. So, I mean, if you're looking for education, you can either get it as an employee or you can get it as a student in a real school.
Yeah.
The choice is up to you. So, thank you guys so much for coming on the show today. It's been phenomenal. It's been amazing. And so, before you go, I just want to play a little game. You played a game now. You played a game with your career. So we're going to play a game, but it's not of such high consequences.
Okay.
So we're going to play a game, and I have picked words that are, I suppose, architectural related.
Okay.
So the game is taboo.
Okay. Yeah.
I love it. I have played taboo before. Okay, so I don't need to explain to you. So
Yeah.
you're going to try to guess the word that I'm saying, and then there are 3 cards.
Okay.
So the winner is 2. The person who gets 2.
Okay.
Alright. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the color closest to white?
Cream.
Correct. That one is so hard. No, Michael, what's the issue?
I'm like,
You're like,
Off-white. Yeah, that's an option too.
But cream is the answer.
Okay, that
So
works.
cream is the answer. So, when you're about to start a project, you have a groundwork ceremony.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah. So just the second word.
Breaking.
The noun.
Break.
Correct.
Okay.
So 1-1. Final,
Okay.
final.
I'll
So, so
I'll let him.
don't let him win. If you slow, just quickly say the answer. Okay. So what is the top part of a building?
Roof.
Correct.
Some buildings don't have roofs. Some buildings don't have roofs.
You're wrong. No, the game is like that. I'll let you win. I'll let you win. 2-1. Well, Dolapo is the winner on this episode. Michael, you have something.
Next time. Next time.
All right, thank you guys for joining us on the show today. It's been phenomenal. I hope, and in fact, I know that you have learned a thing or two from the episode today. So don't forget to, let everybody know that this is the newest thing that you're watching in town. And don't forget to spread the word. And of course, we'll be right here again. Stay amazing.